Hello, welcome back to Like Isaiah. This is going to be another video. This one's going to be a little bit darker, but I wouldn't say darker, but it's a little bit more. It's not like funny like the last few videos have been. And this is a serious topic for me because I'm working through these emotions and my feelings in real time. And so what you're hearing me talk about and what you're hearing me say is how I feel right now. And it's about me not returning to church. I didn't say anything about like abandoning my faith. I just said I don't know how I feel about returning to church. I'm gonna have an honest conversation. Like at this point in my life, being on this earth for more than 3 decades, there's a lot of scrutiny. There's a lot of judgment, or there has been a lot of judgment that has really deterred me. Has really deterred me, and it just to me I feel like it goes hand in hand with being black and being gay and then being in a religious household. I'm not saying my household, you know, but it was definitely religious, and the influence of the church was a big is a big thing. I started playing keys in church when I was 14 years old. At that point, I had only been playing for about 3 years. I started at 11, and I took over playing full time, becoming the church musician at 14. At 14, I'm a kid. I'm a kid. And, I did it because, for one, I loved music. That was definitely my big thing. I loved music. And I knew that that was a blessing to have. I knew that was a gift. I know it is a gift. There is a way that when you're a musician that the church will try to weaponize, they'll try to weaponize that, like Christianity, and as a tool to like deter you from doing certain things or to justify certain things. I As being a church musician, I never got paid a lot. I was always an underpaid musician, always. But I did it because I loved it, and it would be this thing like, well, you should do it for the Lord, which I think that's nonsense, and I think it's a cop out. I think people that say that use it as a way to weaponize, to not pay people or to not pay them what they worth. So that was the first thing, that kind of left a little sting on me. I'm not gonna lie, I've been sat down, as a church musician, I was sat down twice. The first time I will say it was my fault. I would take responsibility for that because I'm a classical. I started out with classical, and gospel is a totally different world. It's a totally different world. And I was sat down because I started seeking other opportunities in other churches, not to leave my church, but just I felt like the music in the church was doing the best that it could do, but I wanted more, and I didn't know how to take it to higher heights without like, or take it to the next level without stepping on toes. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that I was a completely submissive musician. Funny thing is, I actually reached out to my old choir director. This was months ago, and I just apologized to her because I know that like how I was back then. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I was a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't a bitch, but I was bitchy. But only because I just wanted so much more, and I felt like I was being like kept in this box artistically and musically. But I didn't want to make it about me. But I thought if we have the tools to be better, why not be better? And I thought I had the tools to kind of like, even though I was much younger than everybody, I think I had probably the most musical experience and capability. So they sat me down for that, which is I guess I can see it. I To me, I'm now that I'm thinking back, like y'all owe me money, and y'all underpaying me, and y'all sitting me down. Like me now probably would just leave the church altogether. Like I would just leave because I won't allow myself like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Taking away something that I love to do. That's just me. If y'all thought they were right, That's okay. I have no problems with you agreeing with this wing and not this wing over here. Second time I got sat down, and this is when I kind of left, is when it got back to the pastor about my sexuality. He sat me down for that. That one stung, and I never looked at my home church, and they're all great people. Let me tell, like I'm on good terms with everybody there. I just never looked at it the same because that was like the beginning of the beginning for me. Like I wouldn't say the beginning of the end, but the beginning of life. And that hurt because I had always, showed up, and I had always, I was a teenager in high school. Like I had other extracurricular activities, and the only reason I wouldn't be there is if I just absolutely couldn't because, school stuff, or like I was a prodigy. I was filming a TV show at the same time too. So those would be the only reasons why I wasn't there. And I just felt like they didn't realize like how hard I actually worked and how much I gave it. I'm talking about like a person. Don't come to on here talking about spirituality and God. I'm talking about as a person because faith is important. But before faith, we are all people. We are all people. And we are all just people. When you take everything away, that's what we are. That's what we are. And then just also like growing up, never feeling fully comfortable to be who I was. Like I said, I always felt like the adults were kind of like watching me, even though all the kids like in the teens, like they all had their thing. You know what I'm saying? They all had something about them. That's their story to tell. But I just feel like I was just always under a microscope. And I just always felt like, particularly like people were like side eyeing me. Side eyeing me. And I wouldn't say it was like to make me feel uncomfortable, but just certain things that are said. I don't think fondly of like coming of age and embracing like my sexuality. That made it very difficult. It made it very difficult. And I can't stand as an adult, I can't stand to see like people oppress, especially black people trying to oppress somebody else, and especially a black woman. Like a black woman trying to like oppress or, you know, what? With the history of the black woman being probably the most targeted and the most like directed to them, like how dare you? You know what I'm saying? How dare you? And I just I don't know, and maybe it's just I need to find what the church means to me now because I haven't went to a lot of churches. I haven't been members of a lot of churches. I've only been members of maybe two churches that I can recall, two or three churches in my entire life. And like I said, this is over the course of 3 decades. Over 3 decades. I just have to find my as an adult what that looks like for me, you know? Condemnation is something that I've dealt with my entire life. So me being who I am now, I'm gonna be honest. Anybody come to me with anything that I have to say or my viewpoints, it's like to hell with it. I don't pay it any attention because I know who I am and I know who I'm becoming. And I know I respect people and I respect them regardless of, and I love them regardless of if they look different than me, if they speak different than me, if they're a different size. And I don't know if I want to be a part of something that does that to people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I want to be a part of something that does that to people. Like I said, I'm not abandoning my faith. I didn't say that. And you can't gatekeep me either. You can't come to me and say, well, the blah, blah, blah. That's not going to work over here. You can't do nothing with me with that. Because at this point, it's just, it's like Charlie Brown teacher, you know? I know the type of person that I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And I just, I would never want to put anybody through a child, adult, senior, anything of like the things that I've been through and the things and how I've been made to feel just from who I was born as, you know? Because I mean, to be honest, we don't choose to be gay. Who wants to choose all of this condemnation and who wants to choose all the ridicule and all the homophobia and all the stares and all the judgment and all who signs up for that? Ask yourself. Ask yourself, who signs up for that? So just to bring it in, the reason I don't think I'll go back to the church is because I don't know if my morals align with that. I don't know if it does. And this is just me. It may change. It may not. But this is who I am right now. And before you come trying to gatekeep over here, I'm not going to hear it. I am not going to hear it. I'm probably not even going to respond. So you've been warned. As an adult, I would really like to sit down and have a conversation with like the adults of that time, because I want to let them all have it. I want to let them all have it. And you know, they're probably going to hit me with a lot of scriptures, but I'm prepared for that too. I'm prepared for that too. That's all I got to say about that. And before you say you just got to try this, you got to do, stop telling people what you would do, because there's no one size fits all solutions. You know what I'm saying? And I've stopped taking advice from people. I really have. I've stopped taking advice from people. I mean, I may consider considering the advice, but feeling like I need to do something because someone advised me to do it, I'm not that person no more. I'm not that person no more. I'm not that person anymore. But that's all I gotta say. I'm out of here. And the only thing I gotta say is, just try it like Isaiah.